8 insurance companies have received millions in financial incentives from the state to write new policies, but some homeowners and insurance agents in our area say it's still tough to find coverage.
Sabrina Wilson has more on that and what Insurance Commissioner Jim Donlin said in response.
Homeowners and insurance agents say it's still tough for people shopping for insurance coverage, even after the state doled out millions in grants to insurers to write new wind and hail policies.
We keep hearing that they will write soon, but our hopes are down at this point. I'm assuming that the hurricane season, June 1st, it may be a while.
We've heard complaints from homeowners who say they were told by insurers that they aren't writing new coverage until after this hurricane season. Dan Burkhart owns an insurance agency bearing his name. Have you or any of your staffers encountered that?
Yes, we are also getting feedback that opening up might be waiting to maybe October. Some companies said as July, but we're getting mixed messages.
Stephen Lavecchio is a TWFG insurance branch owner.
It's definitely true. For the most part, all these carriers buy their hurricane insurance effective June 1st. So there are a few out there that still have not finished buying their hurricane protection themselves,
making it harder for homeowners in Jefferson, Orleans, and St. Tammany parishes to get new coverage in the private market.
Those are the ones where the companies are not yet writing wholeheartedly.
But Insurance Commissioner Jim Donlin doesn't think insurers are holding off writing policies until next year.
But I also have no reason to believe that they're doing that. It was, if you will, a rumor brought to us, to our attention as well, by an agent, which triggered my first Zoom call with all 8 companies and disposed to my satisfaction of that rumor.
However, Donlin says some have reached the limit of policies they can write in the New Orleans area.
And I have told those 8 companies, if anyone gets to 15%, ask for a waiver, and I will grant it for St. Tammany, Orleans, and Jefferson.
And even though some homeowners may not like the insurance rates they're paying through Louisiana Citizens, Burkhart says don't drop your coverage.
Citizens, although it's a market of last resort, it's a market of only resort at this point. And if all else fails, Citizens is always there to help.
Help is on the way. I would say within 2 weeks there will be coverage available to folks even in those 3 parishes.
But significantly lower rates could be a ways off.
It is going to be really, really, really tough to get rate because we just don't have a lot more companies.
Lavecchio thinks there will be better options before the end of this year, and as hurricane season approaches, Dan Burkhart urges property owners to video everything inside their homes and have access to their insurance documents.